First question's from Eric. Steven, go ahead.
Eric's leading off.
Yeah, it's rare. I got speed, Dave.
Leading off today. Usually hit.
Yeah, I'm an eighth place guy. No, how's AJ Pollock doing today?
Better. Day to day, he's moving around. The soreness really isn't there. Obviously, we'll probably stay away from today, but to kind of leave it open to see how he feels tomorrow before we have to make a decision on him, I think makes a lot of sense.
We saw the move with Peters coming up, and you set to going down. Did you bring anyone else with you just in case, like you have to make a move with Pollock?
We got Rayleigh here as well.
Okay. And what with the decision to activate Peters, is it just like a preference of right over left, or
no? We just didn't have the administration wise. We couldn't bring Rayleigh in time.
The 10 days. Yeah.
Day.
Yeah. Thanks, Dave.
Next question is from Kirsten Watson. Go ahead.
It says Brooks Smith.
Go ahead, Kirsten.
Thanks, guys. With Kershaw coming off of an uncharacteristic outing, what did these past few days look like with him just to reset and prepare for this start?
Just normal as far as what he does after his starts, and kind of obviously it's short rest. So he threw a pen on the off day we just had. So outside of that, he feels great. So it was clearly a light workload the last time in Chicago. So he feels good, raring to go.
And I'm glad to hear that AJ's feeling better. But with him and his offense and what he added, now bringing Matt Beatty in, what do you like about having him in left field and his bat in the lineup?
Yeah, AJ's shown he's hitting both and he's swinging a hot bat, so we're going to certainly miss him for whatever time that might be. But I think Matty's been swinging the bat this last week really well. So to get him out there, get him another 4 at bats, I like him in left field. So I just think it's additive today against Bundy.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
Next question is from Mike DiGiovanna. Go ahead.
Hey, Dave. Seemed like last season with the 60-game season, there was a built-in sense of urgency. And I'm just wondering if it's been a little harder to recreate that feeling this year.
I think that's fair. I think that, you can play every game, or in theory, try to play every game like it's game 7, but in reality, it's not. And when you look out at a 162-game season, I think that there's going to be times where when you're not getting hits, teams look lethargic. And that's every ball club that's not swinging the bats. I do know that we still have a lot of good players, and we're going to win baseball games. So I think that, to your question, I think that to have our hair on fire for 162, I think that it's just, it's hard. It's hard. So our guys understand it is a marathon. I don't like how we got to 500 as far as the last 10 games or whatever it is, last couple of weeks. But we are where we're at, and we got to keep getting better, and that's what we're focused on.
Have you resisted any urge to sort of shake up the lineup, or is that just sort of not part of your DNA to do stuff like that?
No, I think that I'm okay with moving things around if it makes sense. And I just don't think that, taking Mookie out of the 1 or Corey out of the 2 or Justin out of the 3, they still need to take good at bats. And I just don't think that, right now, I think collectively, we just really haven't been swinging the bats. Justin's been very consistent. AJ's gotten hot recently to warrant sort of moving things along. But yeah, I thought about it.
Thanks.
Yep.
Next question is from Brooks Smith. Go ahead.
Hey, Doc, this is not Kirsten. Wanted to ask you, before Keibert had said that he'd be open to maybe playing other positions should the team need it. Is that something that you guys have considered at any point, or are you more thinking long-term future with him behind the plate always?
I think more long-term, short-term, long-term, keep him behind the plate. I'm not surprised that he would say he would play anywhere on the field. He's a baseball player, but I think that, I think if anywhere else I could see him potentially is at first base, but we haven't got to that point. We have some other guys that can play first, but it doesn't surprise me, his openness.
And then from the outside looking in, he seems like he's just in general a really hard worker. Is that something that you've seen from him early on in his career?
Yes, and I think it's gotten better. I think Keibert has grown as far as a ball player, as a man. His communication with teammates, coaches has gotten better. You can see the way he's taking care of his body better. He's working smarter and working better.
Cool. Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
Next question is from JB Hornstra. Go ahead.
Hey, Dave. On the topic of Keibert, at the alt site, he might have had a chance to get at bats against live pitching, whereas on the taxi squad, he's kind of limited to the pitching machine and to underhand flips. How does being around your clubhouse on the road outweigh the benefit of being at the alt site where he can both catch pitchers and get the live ABs?
Well, that's fair. I think the net, JP, I don't think it adds up. But when you're talking about the potential for injury, something happened with COVID, and to have a catcher here, it's important. So I think that if you're just looking at on the surface of making you a better ball player, taking at bats, it probably doesn't add up. But if you kind of bake everything in, it's something that we need to do. And I think we're doing a good job of still getting him his at bats. And then on the road, having that experience as a big league ball player going on the road.
Yeah. Obviously, his timing looked right. He was able to hit a home run in his first at bat, which he also did last year, coincidentally. Is that power, which kind of wasn't always there for him as a prospect, is that real? Like, do you think that's who he is now?
Well, I would say he's more of and if I'm going to bucket him, I would say he's a doubles guy. I will say that the hitting guys have worked really hard with Keibert's buy-in to understand the swing and backspin the baseball to the full side. And now mechanically, he can do that from both sides of the plate, which will lead to more slug.
Gotcha. Do you have an update on Scott Alexander? Or are we thinking it's close to 10 days with him?
I would say it'll just be right around the 10 days or just shortly thereafter.
Okay. And is Tony Gonsolin anywhere close to being out on a rehab assignment?
No, he is going to throw a bullpen, I think, tomorrow. It'll be an up and down. It'll be an extended bullpen. And I think if we look out sometime next week, he's going to do a simulated 3-inning simulated situation. So we'll see how that goes next week at the end of next week. And then we'll know more. But he'll go out on rehab at some point, though.
Thank you.
Yep.
Final question from Margaret Narumi. Go ahead.
Dave-san.
Hi, Margaret.
Hi. Would you like to face Ohtani as a pitcher or Ohtani as a batter?
Both. That's a loaded question. I don't think I have a good answer. He's just such a special player, once in a generation type player. I think. I mean, there's just no one can be a second or third or fourth in a major league lineup and be a top end starter. So pick your poison, Margaret.
ありがとう。